it's really, to me, monumental because of what's taken place in our country with the restrictions that all of you are down here. As I said earlier to somebody, many of you have been coming here for 19 years. Point Lookout was a focal point in so many people's lives for reflecting and remembering. But when 9/11 happened 19 years ago, so many of the residents in the town of Hempstead actually walked down to Point Lookout Beach and looked to the west and saw the smoke rising and reflected. And every year, this has truly been such a special event to so many of you. So many of you have come here for 19 straight years to remember your friends, our colleagues, the first responders, people who just went to their offices and their lives were taken from us 19 years ago. But also the Pentagon and the field in Pennsylvania. But Point Lookout, this has just been such a special ceremony. And this year, as many of you know, is like no other we've really seen. It started normal, and in March with this pandemic, we've faced so many changes and so many restrictions. But I think the key thing we had here in the town of Hempstead was this is a tradition that we need to do, that we've always focused on doing, and we were committed to doing it this year. And with the restrictions that are in place, we're still doing it. And I'm really just taken back by so many of you that are here, that are taking the time to wear your mask and be, recognize you want to protect of yourself and your neighbors, but you're doing what we're always supposed to do on September 11th. Remember the lives of all those people. So I want to start by thanking all of you for being here, because it's the right thing to do, and we want to do that with you here in the town of Hempstead.
We come here today, as the supervisor so eloquently said, to remember those moments when everything in our country changed forever. Yes, it was an attack by a foreign enemy on our homeland, something that was unspeakable. To think that anyone would have the audacity to attack America in our home. And we rose up. We rose up, and I believe that their objective was to divide us, to send us running. But we didn't run away. We actually ran into harm's way. And that's how we lost so many of our beloved first responders, the police, the firefighters, the Port Authority workers, all those who, when they saw the buildings burning, with no regard for their own safety, because their own safety would have dictated that they stayed on the street, they ran into the towers in search of people that they perhaps could save their lives. That is a testament to the resiliency of America itself. We are called today to remember that strength, that resiliency, that patriotic sense of duty that is instilled in everyone who wears a uniform and those who support them, their families. And I want to call on that spirit that was so evidenced on that day nearly 2 decades ago, and say, friends, can we draw on that same spirit of oneness, of unity, of America first once again? Can we draw on that feeling that we had beginning on September 12th, where you actually looked into the eyes of strangers when you're on the train heading into work or going into the grocery store? You actually looked for a human connection with each other because of this shared anguish that we all had.
So as we remember our heroes 19 years ago, let us also remember all those who are still suffering. My brother, when he died June 29th, 2019, was the 222nd NYPD officer to die of a 9/11 illness after the original 23 that died that day. After the 343 firemen that died that day, there has been over 225 that have died of a 9/11 illness. And those numbers could be old, because every week it seems like we're going to a funeral or we hear of somebody else getting sick. I promised Lou that I would continue his advocacy for the victims of 9/11. And that's why I give you that information. Reach out. Be there for each other. Talk to each other. And certainly if you were at that hallowed ground of Ground Zero on that day or the many days afterwards, that field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, our Pentagon in Washington, D.C., please get checked out. I'd like to thank the town for always remembering and never forgetting. And I throw that challenge out, that no matter what is thrown before us, we remember and we never forget.
Leah Michelle said, there is an empowerment that comes with grief. At some point you'll find it. It's very hard, but you will find it. And at a certain point, you can choose to fall from this, or you can choose to rise. We were attacked, but yet we rise. We have been wounded on 9/11, but yet we rise. We lost loved ones, but yet we rise. The towers were knocked down, but yet we rise. Here we are for the world to see. America yet stands. Make no mistake about it, we don't stand down, we stand up. We stand together, and we stand as one. The towers may have fallen 19 years ago, but yet we still stand.
With his pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the man who died, who gave that right to me. And I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this